Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360. Residents in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory are currently on high alert and avoiding some places after the United States Embassy issued an alert for an elevated risk of terror attacks in the city, saying that possible targets include government buildings, places of worship, and other public places. In the alert, the U.S. Embassy said it will offer reduced services until further notice, ordering its citizens and family members who reside in Abuja to immediately leave the area. The UK mission in the country also took a similar step and restricted entry to the British High Commission in the city in an updated terrorism alert. Now, the Department of State Services swiftly swung into action, urging residents not to panic, adding that security agencies are taking measures to ensure safety. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, also ordered the increase of security activities in the FCT, asking all strategic police managers in charge of commands and tactical formations to beef up security in their respective jurisdictions, insisting that the country is safe. The federal government faulted the foreign embassies for allegedly issuing an unverified terror warning to the citizens, trying to cause panic in the country's capital. In fact, the president himself has spoken on the issue. He's asked people not to panic, that the security agencies are on top of the situation. Well, joining me now to discuss this further, I have two security experts here in the studio with me. In another part of the studio, I should say, is Colonel Hassan Stanlabo, who is a retired military officer. And of course, I have Mr. Mike Ejiofor, who joins us from Abuja. He is a former director of the Department of State Services. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Mr. Ejiofor. How serious is this threat?
Well, in security parlance, nothing can be swept under the carpet. The alert or the advisory, which was actually issued by the United States Embassy, was not directed at Nigerians. It was directed at their staff and their citizens. You recall that this year, more than 3 advisories have been issued by the SSS, and we have not asked Nigerians to leave Nigeria. And even at that, the incidents that were reported came to pass. But, in this intelligence practice, there's normally exchange of information between the host country and the foreign missions. And I don't think there's any cause why we're not trying to sweep this under the carpet. Nigerians should remain calm, remain vigilant, and be on the lookout. See something, say something. We don't have to run away from our country. We are Nigerians, we belong to this country, and there's no other place we're going to.
Colonel, what's your take on this?
Also doing their job or providing.
Yeah, I think I agree with Mr. Ejiofor, quite all right. But I must say this, that I was not really impressed with the way our Minister of Information
He's a politician, isn't he? He spoke like a politician.
So, frankly, I felt, look, why are you belittling this? We should just take it, thank them for giving us the information. Take them on our own, we take it as serious as we can, calm down our citizens and let them know things are in good control. Meanwhile, actually, we don't just say things are in good control. We also look inwards and see what little adjustments we can do, what further, amendments needs to be done to 1 or 2 security arrangements on ground and so on. Just take cognizance of this warning. More so, most importantly, it wasn't coming from just 1 or 2 countries. I think they've gotten to about 4 countries now that have spoken to us about this. And we should understand these are guys or countries that have better surveillance capability than we have. Some of them have long history of, terrorism issues. So I think they are more experienced in this by virtue of country experience than us. So we could just benefit from their advice. If they are trying to take away their own citizens out of the country, fine and good. They are only responding, I think, to the fact that they've got a social contract with their people. And of course, their nation governments, their governments will have to extend some level of protection to their citizens who are in areas where they think are needing some extra protection. And the best they can do is to pick them out, fine. But we are not asking Nigerians to leave our country for anywhere. This is our country. We have no other place to go to. Whatever the situation is, we shall salvage it here. I don't think any power can come here and overpower us. Let it be Boko Haram or whatever. We've got a military force that can handle it.
Let me ask you, Mr. Jofo, because something I have heard some people say is that, look, this security alert, of course, might have emanated from the Department of State Services, from the Nigerian intelligence community. That's where this alert may have emanated from, and then these embassies now picked it up from there. Is there a chance that these embassies or these foreign governments now would have access to this kind of intelligence, and our own security agencies in this country do not have access to the same intelligence until these foreign embassies now issued that alert?
In the intro, I told there's exchange of intelligence between the host country and the foreign missions in Nigeria, not restricted to US, but every other country. We exchange intelligence. And like I told you, there have been a series of alerts and advisory from the side prior to this time. So it's not impossible that there was an exchange of intelligence between the Nigerian intelligence community and the US embassy, which led to the issuance of the advisory from the United States Embassy. Like I said, and I continue to maintain, the advisory was not meant for Nigerians. It was meant for their citizens and their staff. Because it was meant for Nigerians, that should come from Nigerian government or the security agencies. And that's the issue when you said in your intro. You know, some people who have no knowledge or background of what happens issue statement. Like the Minister of Information, who was talking about, you see, in intelligence, you don't underestimate, you don't just play down on the intelligence you have received. Yes. And that is why even a week before this advisory from the United States, police itself has beefed up their patrols and checkpoints within Abuja. So that shows there's coordination between the State Security Service and the police. And they are doing all in their powers to ensure that security is maintained in the country. So I want to insist that why not dismissing the reports from the advisory from the United States Embassy. There is need for us to be vigilant, for us to look at our environment, like it's always said, see something, say something. I'll give you an example. And you see, I think the advisory from the United States is even working. This morning, you know, a group of people were seen on motorbikes, you know, about 30 of them going towards a direction, some of them 3, 4 on a bike. And people raised alarm, called some radio stations. We see people moving into town, only to discover that the Okada riders lost one of their members and they were going for burial. You know, if it was before, nobody would draw any attention to it. So I think it's also working for us because people are becoming very conscious of the environment and looking at issues of informing the security agencies of what is going on. It was still radio, and by the time the message got out that people are moving, police immediately issued a statement having investigated or something like this. So it's also working for us because people are very conscious of the environment now. Being security conscious, I think that's the watchword.
You're a former security officer, and of course you're based in Abuja. From what you have seen, I mean, the response you have seen, and you look around what you see, are security agencies now doing as we speak? Do you have confidence? Does it inspire confidence that we're actually on top of this situation?
If I'm not confident of what I'm saying, I'll be out of Abuja. And how many people will leave Abuja? The most important thing is that if you avoid crowded places, avoid in churches, more schools, you should employ security measures because they say that pride of liberty is eternal vigilance. Let us all be vigilant. So if I don't have, I've been talking to you from Abuja, I don't have any cause to doubt the effectiveness and the capacity of our security agencies. So we're here and we'll continue to pray and support our security agencies to see that things move well.
Colonel, why do you think these bad guys, let me just put it that way now, I mean, these terrorists now, why do you think they would want to target Abuja again?
Well, you know, that's whatever level of damage they can do to Abuja heightens or, you know, lifts tells much about their capacity and capabilities, you know, and there are lots of targets that could be taken on in Abuja, being the federal capital, which would help boost their own morale and image within their own space. Okay, so definitely it's a thing of pride for them to touch anywhere in Abuja and cause damage. Not to talk of even abducting very important government officials, which would embarrass us, embarrass our government and everybody. So Abuja is so important to us, very important.
Can we say, as these terrorists come under enormous pressure in the northeast and of course northwest and other places, that they appear to be gravitating towards Abuja?
Definitely. You would expect that as the heat gets on them so much like it is, especially in the northeast, they will begin to fan out. And when they are fanning out, of course, do not forget, these guys are also good. Forget the foot soldiers you are seeing. Those behind them are fantastic tacticians. Okay? They'll be fanning out, and when they are fanning out, of course, to choice areas, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, they know all the places to go that will be of serious injury to our national psyche. Lagos is your economic hub, Abuja is your administrative headquarters, and so on. They know where to go and what to do. So that is why we have to be thinking far ahead of them. Far ahead of them. I was delivering a paper yesterday or so where I was talking about likely areas where I think insurgents might begin to contemplate moving into. Areas where we actually don't suspect them to go to. When I raised similar thing in 2014 and forwarded a paper to Nigerian Railway Corporation, nobody took it serious until when what I was saying happened and unfortunately see what went on. Thank God we have passed that phase now and we have our citizens back to us. But we have to be mindful of our five-star restaurants, yes, five-star hotels, and so on. The leisure sector has to be taken care of. The rail sector has to be properly taken care of too, all right? Because all these are areas where they will be moving into. We have fantastic five-star hotels in Abuja. Let them not embarrass us in those places. It's important.
And of course, it will be a huge embarrassment if they were to carry out an attack in the capital in the capital city, no doubt.
Yes, DEJI, yes. Yes, Abuja is the seat of power in this country. Everything radiates around Abuja. Everything. And there are so many targets to pick in Abuja. So we really have great job to do in Abuja. It boils down to the issue of manpower too. The earlier we start beefing up manpower, the better. I'm happy the police has been increasing its strength and land now by 10,000 every year. They intend to go into the second batch. We need to do that too for the military. I don't know how, how much of deficits in terms of manpower we have with serious agencies like the DSS too. Maybe there might be the need to beef up manpower in that area because they've got a lot of job to do, and so on. We mustn't take anything for granted anymore. No, we can't. See something, say something. It's a collective responsibility. If you say it does not concern you, it will concern you when you come.
let me get a final word from you, Mr. Ejiofor. You look at the attack we saw at Kuje prison a couple of months back. There were warnings before that attack happened. Well, how seriously we took those warnings, well, it's up for debate. But with this now, do you think we've learned our lessons from that episode now, and that going forward, we would learn to take things more seriously, especially when we get advisories or security alerts or whatever we call them like this?
Yeah, we have actually learned our lesson. I gave you a typical example this morning. Ordinarily, Nigerians would have just said, well, maybe Okada people who are protesting and all this. But the most important thing, the most important fact for us to remain to maintain is that we should be vigilant. Assist the security agencies. There's no way the security agencies can on their own effectively man the security of the country. Look at estates. Organize yourselves as residents of that community. Schools, churches, mosques must employ security measures and also establish links with the security agencies to alert them of any development. I'm sure some people don't even know the local police stations around their areas.
That's true.
There's need for you to collect the number of 1 or 2 persons in the police station and possibly the DPO so that they can be alerted of anything. Don't also forget that we're approaching the election. I'm more worried by the activities of politicians than the terrorist activities. All the divisive tendencies, divisive talks on ethnic, religious biases, are more inflammable and capable of causing confusion in the country than the activities of the terrorists, because I believe very strongly that our security agencies can check the activities of the terrorists as they emerge.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you so very much. Well, we'll take a short break now and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.